Mammal time! Still Friday night, still wonderful outside, but this needs to be done. These are the many different types of mammals that we see. You can see I cut off the picture there. There's only so much room. Now mammals, we talk about last because some people say are the most the most highly organized animals out there. And we're in them, so they think we're more developed. But all mammals have hair. All right. They produce milk for the young, at least the females do. Care for their young. They have skin, have glands, have teeth. Some have horns, claws, hooves, or nails. We can see with the polar bear here, they have the hair. You see the white hair there? You look closer, you see this hair here. They produce milk for the young. Those two are nursing cubs. All right, they have skin. You see the black skin on the back there. They have glands. Polar bears, I really can't tell you where their glands are, but I'm sure they do have glands, the oil glands that help their hair stay conditioned. They have teeth. All right, we see their claws here that they have. So we can see all those characteristics on this polar bear. Glands in mammals. Probably the most important gland is the gland that all in the group have, the mammary gland. These produce milk, and all mammals have them. All right. The oil glands, they maintain skin and hair health. They produce oil that allows your hair to stay in good shape. Sweat glands, we can see this horse has been working feverishly. There's sweat going on a lot there. All right. This helps control body temperature, and it helps remove wastes from the body. Scent glands. They're used to mark territory, attract mates, and as defense. Now, cats, if they're rubbing on you with the edges of their mouth, they're marking you with a scent gland. All right? If they're rubbing on you with their rear rectal glands there, their anal sac, that's marking territory. Skunks use it for protection. Dogs, many times, it's a way of greeting and saying hello and knowing what's going on. There are many, many, many different scent glands out there. Teeth in mammals. Canine teeth. Canine teeth are the red teeth here. They're very well developed, and they're used to tear flesh away from bone. We see them in carnivores. When you see a lion growl or a tiger growl, you see those big and large canines because they are carnivores and eat only meat. Incisors. Incisors are used for cutting vegetation. And if we go back, we see the dogs, they have incisors as well to cut and tear that flesh away. All right, to help them cut that flesh away. All right, and then there are the premolars and molars. All right, they're for grinding food. You see with the horse, we only have the top of it, but we have incisors for cutting the vegetation. Canines that aren't really developed. Premolars and molars for grinding and chewing that food before it goes into their stomach. All right, now, all teeth are present in all mammals, but their development can indicate their food source. Here's what we mean. Carnivore. They only eat meat. A dog is considered a carnivore, although we've kind of made them omnivores. These canines are very well developed, and these molars and premolars are designed for holding on to other flesh and pulling them away. While they do have the incisors and molars, these canines are more well developed, and they're an indication that this is a carnivore. Herbivores, they eat only vegetation. Their incisors usually are very well developed, and we're going to see that molars are important in herbivores as well because they need to chew and grind that plant food. Omnivores, they eat both. Our incisors are there for cutting. Our canines are reduced. We have our molars and premolars that are used for chewing and grinding. So we have a little bit of all, but nothing very overdeveloped. Now hair. Hair's another thing that all mammals have, but not in the same quantities. Some animals have fur. The fur traps air for warmth reasons. Whiskers. They're a sensory organ for balance and sense, helping the animal sense the environment. All right? This gives a cat and lets it know where it is, what's going on, notice movement and other things around it without even seeing it. All right? Now, there's almost no hair on some mammals, usually the water-going ones, like dolphins, whales, and many others. They have blubber layers for warmth. These blubber layers can be many inches thick, sometimes 8 to 10. All right? Stiffened hair for protection, like you see in the porcupine. All right, the jaguar is thinking twice about attacking this porcupine for the meat that is there because of those stiffened hairs are quite painful when they get into. Body systems. Now, we go to the body systems for them. There's the circulatory system, a 4-chambered heart, just like the bird. A respiratory system with well-developed lungs. All right, these lungs are large. Then they go down to small air sacs to increase surface area, so the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide in the blood can be very great. All right, because they need a lot of energy to keep their body temperatures. They are endotherms. All right, and for all the movement they do. They have a nervous system, which helps them to sense and touch things. And have a digestive system. It can differ by type of animal. Carnivores have a relatively short digestive system. Herbivores, long and a many-chambered stomachs. We see the many chambers of the stomachs because it takes a lot of digestive power to break down all the plant materials that they eat. All right? And omnivores are somewhere in between. Just to give you an idea, a human's intestine can be anywhere from 23 to 36 feet long. All right? That's all contained in here. Now, types of mammals. The duck-billed platypus and the echidna. They're monotremes. They're a very small group, and scientists sometimes get very excited about them. They think they're a transitionary species between between reptiles and mammals, because they have leathery-like eggs. They also have no nipples, but they do have milk that oozes from mammary glands, and the young lick that off the skin. The groups, or the ones in this group, the duck-billed platypus and the echidna. They're in the children's part of the St. Louis Zoo. All right? This is a very small group. Types of mammals. We have the marsupials. They birth immature young, and the young crawl into a pouch and attach to the nipple to fully develop. Tasmanian devil, possum, kangaroo, and then we have some other animals. I'm not real sure what they are. I apologize. Kangaroo, opossums, koala, Tasmanian devil, also in the children's part of the St. Louis Zoo. The pouch is not only a place to develop, but as the young get a little bit older and can venture out of the pouch, in times of trouble, they can return to the pouch for protection. Koalas use this characteristic quite a bit when going up trees. All right. Types of mammals. We have the last group we're going to talk about, the placentals. They birth live young. All right? Their gestation period is in the mother's uterus. Now, the placenta is a sac with fluid that houses the embryo. The umbilical cord attaches the placenta and the baby, your belly button, to the mother, and gives oxygen and nutrients during gestation, that time when you're inside your mother and you're growing, or any animal is there, it's developing in the uterus. That's called gestation. Page 442 and 443 are great for examples. They give a large amount, and they might even be a good place to go as we get ready for our project that'll happen at the culmination of this chapter. Whales, elephants, and humans are just a few that we mentioned. You can see all the different types here, from bats to deer to bobcat to bear to coyote. So many different ones, even the river otter, the beaver. Now, placental reproduction, we're going to go into that a little bit in depth since we may have a little more interest there. There's internal fertilization. That means there's sex happening. They give birth to live young. You can see the young kicking as it gets there. Animals like the giraffe and many other four-legged animals can move and be up within minutes to hours. so that they can keep up with the herd and keep going, to keep moving and fending off and being away from predators. During this time, the embryo or the baby develop in the uterus inside the mother. It's called that gestation period when they're developing inside the mother. And the umbilical cord that you can see right there connects mothers' placentas connects the young in the placenta to the mother who's giving them nutrients. Another thing about the mammals, they care for their young. Mostly female, but in certain examples, wolves and humans, both parents help to raise the young. And they teach the young survival skills, whether they're defensive or whether they're how to hunt. Those young watch and then imitate those skills, and that helps them to survive. Thanks, 7th grade. Have a good evening.